she had and stole to live the high life. There was disobeying my mother. There was putting myself in unsafe situations with people I thought were friends. There was things that I did that I had no business doing. That I knew in my heart of hearts was sin, but it sure didn't stop me. And then I met Jesus. And he didn't say, "You are so horrid. Get away from me." He said, "You're better than this. And by the way, I love you." I wasn't expecting that. And he cast out the demons one by one. It's not attractive to me at all. The demons are gone. I don't sleep afraid, and I'm not afraid of demons. Because I know Jesus, and I know he's bigger than that. I know this guy. I know this story. I am this story. And if you're here, so are you. And he wants us to tell other people what Christ has done for us, done for you, done for me. Pastor says we might not be biblical scholars, but nobody can dispute or take away our testimony. And our testimony is what Christ has done for us. I couldn't finish college. I'd start and stop, start and stop. No, I'm sorry, start and fail. Oh my gosh. And he started opening doors. I heard him in my driveway say, "Go to school." I'm 47, Lord. What are you talking about? And the last time I went, I failed. I don't want to go. Go to school. So I went in and I started looking for, what would you like me to do? I never heard of occupational therapy before. Actually, I did, but I didn't know what it was. But as I read about it, I started getting excited. Well, gee, I have a lot of student loans already. How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for this? My whole tuition was paid. God wanted me to be there and made a way, and wanted me to know his hand is on this. Okay. Now, I don't know how to go to school without I don't know how to go to school without smoking and drinking, and I don't know how to do that. I mean, I remember starting back to college, one of my times that I was going to go back to college. And I might not have had a McDonald's French fry in a long time, and I might not have had candy bars in a long time, and I might not have had a cigarette in a long time. And all of a sudden, I needed candy bars, Coca-Cola, and cigarettes. Because I didn't know how to cope. I didn't have what it took. But when God put me there and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to pay for it for you," I didn't do any of that. I aced this stuff. That's what God did for me. Then a lot of you know that I failed an internship in that time. Whoa. That couldn't be. I'm an A student, don't you know? I just did the mental health rotation and it was great. How could this happen? It is unfair. This is unfair. And it was. But that doesn't mean God wasn't going to use it for good. And the next internship was something that nobody had ever had before. That was the first thing I ever wanted to do. And from there I got a job right out of that internship in that place that I was told nobody can get that job until they have a year's experience. I would never have gotten there unless I'd failed. That's what God did for me. So don't look at your situation and say, "I'm failing." He's setting up something beautiful for you. Amen. I heard, because I'm here and I'm listening for God's intention, and I hear tithe. Tithe, I can't make the month's bills. I got bills on the table that I take the ones from long ago and I throw them away without paying them. And you want me to tithe? Well, you've done so much for me so far. Okay. Something happened. I started tithing. My bills started getting paid. I don't know. I don't know. I started opening savings accounts, plural. I've been on vacation without debting. I have a faith, a firm foundation in God that I know I will have what I need when I need it. Our house had a flood taken care of. Cars. How are we going to get a car? I need a car. My job is in home health. I've gotten more than one car. Not cash, but I have what I need when I need it. That's what God has done for me. I don't necessarily use my story. I'm still learning to use my story and testify about what God's done for me personally. What I've tried to do is say, you gotta come. Just like the apostles, the disciples, when they were first called. They ran and said, you gotta meet this guy. You gotta come. Just come and hear what I'm hearing. Meet who I met. Come. But the message to me lately, and the message he asked me to give to you, was to go tell. Not just to invite them and hope they get it, but to tell. Let's look at Zechariah chapter 8, verses 20 to 23. This is what the Lord Almighty says. Many peoples and the inhabitants of many cities will yet come, and the inhabitants of one city will go to another and say, let us go at once to entreat the Lord and seek the Lord Almighty. I myself am going, and many peoples and powerful nations will come to Jerusalem to seek the Lord Almighty and to entreat him. This is what the Lord Almighty says. In those days, 10 men from all languages and nations will take firm hold of one Jew by the hem of his robe and say, let us go with you, because we have heard that God is with you. How did they hear that God is with them? Somebody told. We're to lead people here. And we're not to be surprised. It's our job to be clean vessels, to be apparently blessed and different than, and have an answer to a hurting, perverse world filled with demons that are in people. And not the, chucky, weird stuff. Just your average, selfish fool that seeks pleasure for pleasure's sake and doesn't care if they hurt people. And squanders what they've been given. Those demons. Let's look at Mark chapter 16, verses 15 through 18. And he said to them, go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands. And when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well. Let's look what Luke has to say about it. Luke chapter 8. Verses 26. Oh, nope. Nope, that was that. Go and tell. Be different than the world. Be like Christ. Let him change you. Let him bless you. Let him make you more like himself, which is what he wants to do. So people run to see Christ in us and run to us because they know we have an answer they don't. That we access a loving power that they can't in their current state. Go and tell. So I'd like to hear what Christ has done for you and get us in the habit of telling our stories. If I can say, I was prodigal daughter, and this is what happened, then you can tell someone what's happened to you and how Christ has blessed you. If we confess Him, He blesses us. If we don't, we're still under the world's power. Who else would like to share something God has done for them and how they are different? How you are like Legion and are now restored. How you know you've been asked to go and tell. You either raise your hand or I will call on you.
I don't know where to start, but I know that since I've been back in the church, I know God has really been working through me to have a lot more patience, and peace, and not to worry. The Holy Ghost has really guided me on how to live and to really just separate myself from the world and be an example for my children. Being a single mom obviously is not easy, so being back in the church has brought me a lot of peace and encouragement from God's help to help me with my family and just people on the outside in the world, people that can be mean and nasty, and like I said, since I've been back in the church, I've been able to deal with those people and learn how to pray for them versus talk about them like I used to do. But yeah, God has blessed me, and He's still working through me every day with me and my family.
I love that. Did you hear that? She's praying for people she used to talk about. That's evidence. That's evidence.
Praise God. Everybody's preaching today, so be ready. Yes, all of us have a testimony. You know, we here, all of us healthy with our, everything, nothing wrong in us. That is, a testimony. Some people, they couldn't even sit down. They couldn't even feed themselves. Somebody has to feed them. But us sitting here, so there's a lot to thank God. What God has done for me, I can write books and books. And I believe one day I'll write so many books, my story. God is not done, with me, and I haven't finished the battle yet. I'm still battling, going through. But in the midst of any all that, I can see God's hand. I can see, you know, He's with me. He's leading, you know, my family. He protects us. I remember one time we went to Page as a vacation, couple days, and we went to, there is a little lake, and we went in that lake, and we rent a boat. I never been on the boat. I never ride. I don't really like water too, but somehow we want to try. So we got, you know, the person over there. He gave me a little training, and then it was easy to drive. But you know, if you've never been on the lake, driving a boat, it's not, you know, it's scary. It's a lot of water. So all of my family get on that boat and we start driving, and it was kind of, you know, fun. And as we are going, you know, the water is kind of moving, and it's deep. So I'm like, no, we don't want to go to the deep. We want to go to the shallow. And if you know about the boat, you know, you have to be in the deep. You can't be in the shallow. But what I was thinking is, we need to be on the shallows. If something happens, we can easily, you know, swim and get over to the other side. So we were going on the shallow side, and somehow there was a rock, and we hit the rock. And this boat, you know, almost flipped. And the engine went off. The engine wouldn't start. Man, everybody was screaming. I never scared like that. Because a lot of my kids, they don't know how to swim. So if we have a life vest, but if anything happened, you know, I don't know how many of us will survive that day. But I thank God the boat didn't sink. And finally, the rescue, you know, another guy with his family, they rent a big boat, and they came and they rescued us, and they took us to the other side, and we were safely came out. And I was like, wow, that is a hand of God. I could have drowned all my family in that lake that day. But I see, you know, He protects us, He guides us every day, He provides, you know, He gave us the peace that we need, daily bread. So I just want to thank God for being you know, my provider.
Just want to thank God for His protection. We just talk about me and the road and the car. This life we can't take regret. What God has been keeping us safe and healthy. The people that don't go to church, they're healthy too, but it doesn't mean God He's not working on our life. He's still working in our life, even though we don't see. He's working in our life, and His protection He never fell on us. Always he go before us. He's always with us. His protection always with us. So I'm thanking God for keeping us safe.
Oh, don't get too happy.
I just want to thank God for helping me to realize and to understand that I actually have something to depend on. Because I'm more of a do it myself sort of person. Like, the best way to get something done is to do it yourself, to not really depend on others. But eventually you get tired long enough when things continue to not work out in your favor, which unfortunately that's how life is. But to understand and to have a way to know that feeling, to know that whatever your problem is, that God's there for you, it really just helps you. And it's been helping me. I'm just really thankful that He helped me realize, to understand that I have someone to actually depend on.
Clap. Hello. I want to thank God for keeping me safe and healthy. I also want to thank God for making me be more reliable on Him and having a peace of mind, like in school and in certain things. I also want to thank God for giving me like a holy and faithful family, like being able to be born into a pastor's home. And I want to thank God for giving me guidance.
I want to thank God because a couple years ago, when like things were, I think, going on and stuff, my relationship with God was a little bit more dwindled, and I started noticing that like anything that I did, He was like never at the back of my mind. Like I would never put Him first before anything. So I started realizing that, and I was like, hopefully, I'm not backsliding. So I always prayed for to have a better relationship with God every single day. And yesterday, when I was praying, I just realized that that prayer has actually been answered because I noticed that anything that I did, God was always on the top of my mind. Whenever it came to school, I would, like, as before, during school, I would never, like, remember to pray before a test or, like, ever keep Him behind, like, my mind. But since then, He's always been on my mind, and I've always been praying before any test or any type of thing that I did. I would always have God in my mind and have a better relationship with Him and make sure that I will do right. And I'm really thankful that my relationship with God has grown because God has done a lot in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And I would like to keep growing stronger in Him each and every day.
I want to thank God for all He has done for me and my family, for guiding us and protecting us and providing for us. And I'm grateful for what He has done in my life.
I want to thank God for keeping me safe and healthy. I also want to thank God for helping me in school and for giving me a wonderful family.
I want to thank God for everything, for keeping my family safe, through like every like sickness and stuff, like healing us and stuff. I want to also thank Him for helping me do good in school as well. I've been doing very good in my classes lately, so yeah.
And then for me, and then for me, at the start of the school year, this school year, I had 6 classes. But then 2 weeks later, seventh class got added. It's not that the first class started 2 weeks later. No, it's that I was added to that class's schedule 2 weeks later, and so I had a lot of catching up to do because they already went through a few assignments involving 3D modeling, and today I've caught up a lot of it, and so it is a process, but I'm getting closer to that. God's getting me through that class. I did ask Him, like, I try to put Him in everything now. Um, Sometimes overthink, but but yeah, I always give everything to Him, and His ways are great, and He has a great plan for me. Yep.
I want to thank God for keeping me healthy and safe and have a roof on my head. And I just want to thank him for helping me go through valley fever that I've been diagnosed with 2 years ago. And Yeah, that's all I have to say.
So for me, it's just like when I was growing up, I always saw God as like a one dimensional, and or at least in just one aspect. But I remember Pastor one of his sermons a while back. I remember the one verse that he read. It was pretty much the verse was saying, me just paraphrasing. Um, God, I guess I think it was God was saying like, let's. Want you to not stay in the shallows. I want you to dive deeper, going deeper. And so I kind of took that as God is not one dimensional, and God allowed me to see like I'm not just one dimensional. I'm a whole lot of things, and so He's just been putting me through a journey of trying to discover and know Him deeper and to know different aspects, and instead of just knowing Him as God, Creator, He wants me to, He's taking me on a journey to know different aspects of Himself and to know different personalities that He has. So I just thank God for that one.
I want to thank God for providing and protecting our family, and I also want to thank Him for keeping us safe and healthy, and Him being like a listening ear, like when I don't, or when I want to talk to somebody, or like I have something I want to talk about, then I can talk to Him about anything, and yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, well, I don't know if it's a testimony or a prayer request, but I've been away for a long time now, and when I was outside, I just got